live. Peace to the family, y'all. Oh, greetings, should I say. Greetings. Welcome to all. Yeah, this particular build, I'm going to be off camera. You know, I'm going to be off camera. I just want to build on some real personal things that have been brought to my attention, some conversations that I felt that I wanted to have with the family, especially leading into this new year of 2023, you know. And I've seen a lot of things going on about what the number 7 represents, the level of magnetism, you know what I'm saying? And people who say it's the God year, it's impossible for us to properly prepare ourselves, or even as what's considered to be voices of the community, thought leaders of the community. You know, it would be very irresponsible for us not to prepare our people, you know, heading forward without giving you both sides of the coin. You know, I speak about both sides of the coin a lot, you know what I'm saying? And I think that if people are continuously just telling you one side of the story without giving you both sides of the story, then we're always going to miss the point, and we're setting one another up for failure. You know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about the dark side of peace, love, and light. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about the things that the community does not talk about, right? I titled this Post-Stardom Depression, and I got a picture of Ye up there, you know, and Ye is a wonderful prototypical person for us to look at. I'm not picking on him. I don't want to single him out. But at the same time, what we see him going through in terms of his mental breakdown and the level of psychosis that he's experiencing is not too different than what the majority of our people are going through on different levels and different tiers, especially in this community. You feel me? Especially in this community. And people are not being honest. You know, the peace, love, and light thing, the positivity movement is so prepackaged, it's so delicately curated that, you know, what's happening in the world of influencers, what's happening in the world of, you know, Instagram with the 14-year-olds, it's the same thing happening in the world of consciousness, where people are coming online and they're seeing people that are so packaged to look so perfect that they're being intimidated by this level of positivity, and nobody's keeping it real. Nobody's telling you the backstory. Nobody's telling you about the dark days. Nobody's telling you, you know what I'm saying, about the depression. Nobody's telling you, you feel me, that these people is not living that life. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying, these people are, every finger that points back at us. So I'm not independent of none of these conversations. I'm willing to have the conversation, though. Right? And I'll give you a little backstory. There's a lot of things that led to this conversation. You feel me? There's a lot of things that led to this conversation, but one of the main ones is I got a call the other day from a friend of mine, a elder in our community. You know, she's a little bit older than me. You know, she's a parent. She's a friend of my mother's. You know, she's a person in the community and everything. And she called me, and she was in tears, right? And I just thought that I had to sit and hold space and listen to this young lady and hear what she had to say. This was the day after I post my, you know, I was saying, yo, I got 2 million views on high level conversations, right? I was dealing with a level of self-aggrandization for an accomplishment that I felt was well deserved. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, you know, it's 2 million, it's in counting. I know what we put into that conversation. I know the level of discourse that I brought to that conversation, and it was very intentional and it was very purposeful. But I remember going to lectures initially in the beginning with Phil Valentine and Bobby Hemmett, and I would come home with headaches. I would come home with stomach aches. I would come home like almost having out-of-body experiences because the information was so heavyweight, and I experienced such a paradigm shift. My entire ideological process was being rewired in real time, and nobody gave me no warning. I didn't get no disclaimers. You feel me? I didn't know what I was walking into. I'm in them classrooms, and I'm hearing Bobby saying the devil is cool and God is the devil. It was just paradigm shifts. I'm like, whoa. It was a whole lot that got dumped on us that you had to sit with, that you had to live with, that you had to shift through, all of that stuff yourself, figure things out yourself. They wasn't hanging around and having conversations with you. They drop it on you, and then that's that. You feel me? You got to hold that, and you got to make sense. The best amount of sense you got to make with it in real time. You know what I'm saying? So with me coming from that, you would think that I would be a little bit more mindful and cautious, especially getting on a platform of that level. The level of information that I disseminated on that platform was really for master students and not for novices. Right? That was not entry level information. I was like, if I never get an opportunity to get on the platform again and have this conversation, I'm not going to waste it. Let me speak to, let me speak to the audience. Let me speak to the students. You can decipher this for the next 50 years if you need to. That's the type of information that I felt was kind of like poured into that. But what we're not mindful of is that the introductory level listener, the introductory level person who's coming into that level of information, this young lady, she was crying because she was like, look, she just had an incident with her son, where her son, right, bugged out. He became so angry that he attacked his mother. And she said he was watching that program, and he was watching it like religiously. You know what I'm saying? And it was wigging him out because he was exposed in real time. He had such an immediate crash course into the shattering of lies that he had been told his entire life that he became violent, right? I remember the angry phase. I remember when I got introduced to this information and it bugged me out, right? We make jokes about it, unfortunately, in our community, right? Damn, you made it through that phase. You made it through the wig out phase, because some people didn't make it. And then there'll be jokes made about those people. Damn, this nigga burnt out. This nigga skidded out. This nigga's in the G building. This nigga went crazy. This nigga's on the block speaking to himself. This nigga's in a mental institute, right? And we would make fun about that on the block, right? And I'm saying, even if I was not included in the one that was making fun, I was in proximity to fun being made. You know what I mean? And even if I spoke in defense of what people are going through, I'll still put myself in that conversation because I had bore witness enough to those conversations to say, yes, that, I was in company of those conversations, even if I wasn't the one saying it. So I put a post up yesterday where I was even questioning, because I sat with some elders recently that are part of an ancient African traditional system, and they were taking me to task about certain concepts and terms that we hold on to in the conscious community, of which they do not, they don't have anything positive to say about the community. And this is from not only the elders, this is from the ancestral realm, right? The ancestors is like, nah, this ain't it. You niggas is in y'all out of order. So much shit is being said that's not spiritually correct. It's not even spiritual systems of spirituality and the conscious community. Like, all of those are those are different things. They don't coincide with one another, and they are diametrically opposed to a degree, because systems have hierarchies, they have systems, they have rules and regulations, they have no-goes. There's certain things that you don't do, certain things that you don't say, especially if you don't know. And there's so much information is being disseminated that people are not properly curated, licensed, or initiated to even discuss. And it's leading to more harm than it is to good. So they told me the concept or the term love it's not an ancient concept. You can't find that in ancient traditional systems. And to them, Kemet is a baby system. They got the old dudes to go back 40,000 years. It's not, Kemet is a new kid on the block. You feel me? And that has been thoroughly compromised. Our community don't even talk about pre-dynastic Kemet. Right? There's millions of years of history on this planet, believe it or not. And the stuff that we're dealing with, is being dealt with from a position of romanticism, right? We've romanticized Kemet. We've romanticized Black history. We've romanticized everything, and we don't talk about, the aspects that are not that pretty. And it's so necessary for you to be equally balanced, especially going into what we're going into. I'm not telling you to embrace darkness or be part of it, but I'm saying acknowledge it, recognize that it's part of you. Acknowledge that, the dark predates the light. You know what I'm saying? So stop having a religious puritanical approach towards things that's ultimately going to hurt you, right? Because what you going to do? You feel me? You're gonna banish the darkness in you, like, yeah, we gotta do our shadow work and such, and yeah, that's all cool, but you're not gonna vanquish it. It's still part of you. You still got dirt under your nails, no matter how many times you wash your hands. So this young lady, she asked and she made a plea with me. She was like, just tell your backstory. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, yeah, you may have told your backstory on Blog Talk. You may have told your backstory on Instagram. You may have told your backstory in a lot of places, but when people are encountering the information on platforms such as this, right, they're being intimidated by the intelligence. They're being intimidated by these levels and these tiers. They're like, damn, how do I get there? And if a person feels that these levels of consciousness are unattainable to them, now this stuff is leading to depression, and depression is becoming a very real thing in our community. Especially, we're contributing to this online aspect of depression. You can find it in all pockets of different communities online, but it's also seeping into consciousness. And I'm just making an open plea for thought leaders in our community, people that want to take up the mantle of leadership, or if there's, for the lack of a better term, whatever that thing influencer means, like, all right, there's people that are looking at what you're saying and looking at what you're doing, right? Don't package yourself as perfect, right? Because we know that that's not correct. We did not wake up like this. None of us are perfect, right? Perfection is not attainable in this particular paradigm or this life. You feel me? And we should be very real about our personal flaws and the errors that we make and the mistakes that we make and the missteps that we make, right? Before you are God, you a man first. You're going to make mistakes. This whole concept of guarding to a degree where you're supposed to be perfect is a fucking setup, yo. And people are hurting themselves attempting to follow these concepts. You have to master manning first before you get to God level, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? And this level of intent, and these niggas is not living that life. For real. For real. They doing it for the gram. They doing it for the gram. They turning their backs on their family. Yeah, it's the whole God. Bro. I could be here for days, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to just say, on a real to real, 100,000%, this shit is not what it appears to be. You feel me? It's not what it appears to be. And through honesty is the only way that we can set ourselves free, let alone somebody else. How your truth gonna set somebody else free and you still a prisoner to your lies? You know what I'm saying? I think that we can do so much more for one another if we was just real, if we just kept it real with one another about the flaws, about the imperfections, about, yo, like I embrace the concept of failing forward. You feel me? I'm 47 and I still be starting over again. You know what I'm saying? I've been at this shit for 20 plus years. Wait, maybe even 30. And I still make mistakes, right? I've left $1 billion on the table, right? And I can live with that. I practice a concept called gratitude. So before I can get to the loftiest aspects of what love's supposed to be, this intangible concept, I can't talk about love if I don't practice appreciation first. Because to me, my definition of love that I attained myself when I sat down and I thought about it, because the people in this community that was speaking the most peace, love, and light, they're the darkest people in this community. They're the most hateful, spiteful people in this community. So I was confused. I'm like, damn, I can't hold on to this concept. I can't put my teeth around it because I've never seen love come from these people on a personal level. Yeah, they could talk that talk. The talk is elaborate. They'll fucking run circles around you with the talk. But I've never felt it. It's not a love that you can put your hands on. So I'm like, that shit is not real. What I'm looking for that's real is appreciation. Appreciation. What I'm looking for that's real that I can appreciate is some gratitude. What I call gratitude. Gratitude is accepting the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent for what it is. It don't mean that I got to stay there and I got to live there. But if I get hung up on the fact that things ain't what they seem or people don't do what they say, you know what I'm saying? Or I felt slighted or wronged by a person, I'm going to be so vindictive. I'm going to return back to the angry part of me that I remember when I woke up and I was angry at everyone and everything. And I was rebellious and I wanted to burn things down, literally. But I only ended up burning up my own liver. Feel me? Compounded with the fact that when I woke up, I'm coming out of being a club promoter and someone who's been in clubs from the age of 14 all the way maybe to the age of 33 every single day. 7 days out of a week, I was inside of somebody's club drinking at minimum at least 3 cups of alcohol. At minimum, because I can't be in a club without being nice, because I have to be inebriated to deal with the bullshit that's going on around me. And I'm an empath. Right? So I'm destroying my liver. And then I get into quote unquote consciousness and they turn my lights on and you turn the lights on and you look around and now you see everything is some bullshit. You feel me? And my lights got turned on in 2001. I was facing 2 cases where I was looking at 15 years apiece. Right? So my lights got turned on different. I got turned on to the lights that I'm participating in de facto governments and the whole shit was a farce. Right? And the people that was trying to take my life away was frauds themselves. So that's the anger that I woke up with and I had to go in court and defend myself. And then the niggas put me in that situation and walked away from me with the sword. And you turn around and nobody's there. And you standing in the well. And you got to go to war with the magistrate. With the motherfucking bailiffs behind you with the gloves on. 2 times, back to back. Or you going to get the motherfucker, you going to get your head cut off for 15 years. And I'm like, I ain't going back. So I was left with no choice but to fight for my life. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody give you no hug. You don't get a pat on the back. You don't get a kiss on the cheek. You know what I'm saying? At the most, niggas be like, good job, suit up. You got to go back in. And this is post 9/11. Now I'm being labeled as a fucking terrorist. And I'm getting visits from Homeland Security and shit like that to my crib 3 a.m. So I'm like, yeah, I had a lot of reasons to be very upset with any and everything that was told to me. Institutions, parents, people, you know, in the community, fake gangster street shit, right? Because everybody run when the cops come. The culture, oh, what's real and what's not. I'm like, damn. But y'all not, you know, who's the ops for real? Because ain't nobody fighting the good fight. religion, health, all of that. The fact that these people told my mother in the 80s when they came for Sabia that they, we'll make your children's lives a living hell. I was like 13 or 14. How you gonna tell somebody that? How you gonna tell somebody that? And mean it. So there's a lot that I can still hold on to and be so angry and be like, this person did me wrong. I ain't like the slight with this person did that. I got left off of this list. I got, you know what I'm saying? This person taking. You start creating all of these laundry lists for yourself inside of your head. And, the anger and the frustration, you know what I'm saying? And all of those things is just going to put you in the grave that much more quicker, But what's really real that we really need to discuss is the depression, right? It's the depression because, again, I'm not saying that the concept of what peace, love, and light is unattainable. I'm not saying that it's unattainable, but I'm like, we don't wake up like this. You feel me? And we can create a spark, but how can we hold the charge? It's the same thing with everything that we do as a people. We create a spark, but how do you hold the charge? It's like they saying, you could get rich, but the hardest part is to hold on to the money. It's the same thing with this vibrational frequency. These high vibes, these vibes that people keep talking about. Why is peace, love, and light not our default? Why you gotta work so hard to get there and work so hard to hold on to it? Why is it not our default? You like peace, love, and light for the first 3 months of your life, and then everything after that, nigga, you gotta fight to get to that place. You feel me? Yeah, and you can only find peace in the midst of war. You can only find peace in the midst of war. That's where I found my peace, on the battlefield. And then I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? I was fighting all this time. You know what I mean? When externally, outside of myself, when it was really like the things that I'm looking for is internal. And I speak with a lot of parables and shit like that. And that could be intimidating to people because they're like, I don't know what you mean by that. How do I do it? And, all right, so I'm speaking in parables and I'm speaking poetic. And that's intimidating to some people because they want something tangible. They want something that's very descriptive. They're like, how do I get to this place? You feel me? Y'all are going over my head. Y'all too deep for us. And it's like, how do you know what I'm saying? I have not figured out how to even respond to that, truthfully, because I have to be true to myself first. I'm a poet, and I speak in parables. And I also understand the fact that because of the positions that I have already found myself in, the things that I know about, what I know about with the shit that I'm up against, it's like, yeah, but I can, my nigga, I'm under heavy surveillance at the same time too. Not that I'm afraid, but I'm like, I'm supposed to go, my shit, look, nigga, everything ain't for everyone, every time, everywhere. So if I'm sprinkling something, you got to be able to pick up what's being sprinkled because, like I'm in a fishbowl. When I'm talking to you, it's like I tell this people to be calling my phone. If you speaking to me, pretend that you speaking to the motherfucking White House, or if you ain't comfortable to say something on a goddamn stand, don't say it on my phone, please. Okay? Because they're playing you in the big room. When I was doing Block Talk Radio in 2015, this girl that worked for Fort Hamilton Army Base, right? After we did, I forgot who we had on our program. She came and she was like, they be playing y'all show in the big room with the big speakers on. You know what I'm saying? And she came and shit, and she was like, yo, you know, they in so many words, they told her to tell us to take a vacation. I was like, what? And I started going ham after that, and maybe have never stopped. So I'm like, no, no, don't, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, it's like, we all gotta be mindful. Just like the shit that my mother was telling me, like, we're all not fighting the same fight on the same level. You know what I'm saying? I know you're trying to educate the people, but be mindful. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. So we still have to be mindful of, even if we're God, you got to be mindful of your mortality. You know, I can't be a service to myself if I'm not here. I can't be a service to my family if I'm not here. You know what I mean? And the people use the information like it's entertainment. So at the same time, while you up here putting your whole life force into it, attempting to lift the masses, they got options. They could turn this shit on and turn this shit off. You can't. You know what I mean? You tagged for life. So it's like, damn, the love that you have for the people, rather the appreciation, right? Because I don't even know what the love thing is. It's more so an appreciation, right? The fact that if I feel like, yo, I've attained a particular level of consciousness, you know, I can never rest on my laurels, because I'm like, well, they're not here. And it's very lonely here. And I want for them what I want for myself. But the way that I went about getting it, I wouldn't wish that on nobody. So how you gonna get it? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna get it? And I don't want to thumb my nose at people to be like, oh, we stood up against the big bad, you know, military, industrial, medical industry and didn't take the jab. It's like, I don't want to come across as I'm better than nobody because of the decisions that we're making, the sacrifices. I position myself to be able to make a decision like that because I've been preparing for this for 20 years, right? I'm already a ghost in the machine and a clog in the matrix. So it wasn't too hard for me to pivot. I had a lot of references. You feel me? My mama and daddy was going up against Fauci in the 80s. So we was already, this is part of my education. You know what I mean? But everybody don't have that fortitude. They don't have that reference. They don't got that backdrop. They don't have that backstory. They don't have the will, the courage, or the know-how to know, yo, this is what it is. And this, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to buck the system and middle finger the system. And yeah, it's cool, but it's also not cool at the same time because everybody's not prepared for that. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be insensitive to nobody's plight, you know, just by giving, once again, these concepts of peace, love, and light. Like, we woke up like this. We did not. And this shit is a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? It's dark fucking days. The sun is not out every single day with these demonstrations. You know what I mean? You're putting people that you love in danger. People around you are in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you can't be a service to yourself. You can't be a service to your family if you're not here. Or if you're here and you're a vegetable or some shit like that. You know? So, I just, you know, I got a phone call. Again, I don't think I'm sharing. Yeah, I asked the young lady, can I share some aspects of this story? I got a phone call last night from a friend of mine. She had to come back into town to attend the funeral. And she was attending the funeral of a goddaughter of hers. And her goddaughter, I believe, was 17. She just got accepted to some major colleges. She said, beautiful girl, hair up down to her back, dreads, you know, very cultured, you know what I'm saying? And she comes from, you know, a background, I guess, where she had access to, you know, a lot of material things. Her folks did good, the car in the driveway, house, and all of that good stuff. All of the things that we say that we in this for to attain as the dream, and, you know, all of them things. And the girl still committed suicide. Feel me? The girl still took herself out, you know? she still didn't feel worthy. She still didn't feel like she was enough or that was enough. She's online attempting to keep up with the Joneses. And then we're not even understanding the other end of the spectrum of how you can over-privilegize a person out of position. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, boom. Like, case in point, I'm going to use this analogy, like, C-19 came, right? And I remember even before C-19 came, I was with A. Rashid, and he'd be like, nigga, you better eat some of this greasy chicken so you can have some, some wherewithal and have some of these enzymes in your body if necessary. If some nasty shit come around, you don't want to get caught off guard by being your cells just being so clean. You know what I'm saying? And when the grease come around, that you're not accustomed to the grease no more. And it's the same thing if we're raising our children so curated and so secluded and so protected and sheltered, you know what I'm saying? Do they have the necessary dirt that creates the microbiomes and the immunity for the real world? Whereas, you'll find people that was growing up in New York in the P's, in the projects, in the tenements. They make perfect managers. They make perfect bosses, right? And I told you, even with the hustler aesthetic, they went around the entire globe, right? And they was able to populate this planet like Romans because we live in the Empire State. We're little Romans in New York. We are raised to be Romans and do in Rome as Romans do, right? That's why we can fan out to the rest of the provinces of Rome and control them shits, because we are the perfect Romans in New York because of the conditions. Okay? Other people cannot do that, unfortunately. They don't have those experiences. They have not lived in the proximity to the devil enough to understand his cunningness and his canniness and things of that nature. You have not finessed him to the level where you've jostled and dug his pockets, where you've cut him in the face, where you've snatched his chain, where you've punched him in the face, where you've sat him down, where you've gotten over the fear that he's just like you. But he's inseminated you in his mind at the same time, so he got you at the same time. And you're going to propagate whatever he's programmed you with. Anyway, you could take all of the material. Yeah, I could have boosted every last thing in the motherfucking store of his. But that don't mean that I'm winning. At the end of the day, that shit is insured. He gets to laugh at me, right? Because now he's on my tail and my case for the next few years to get some time up out of me. That's what happened. You never get away playing his game. So, we get a little bit of change. We move down south. We get these big houses. We get the cars. We provide the children with, I'm going to give my child everything that I didn't have. Right? And then your child don't got the necessary microbiome, right? On some little Romeo shit. I'm not clapping at Romeo. I'm just saying, look at what he was saying. Look at what he was saying about him and his father, that if you take them out the mix, his family can't fend for itself. Now, they've been close enough in proximity to success to be able to duplicate it. They've been out of the swamp and the field and the fold long enough to be like, yo, I've been around success enough to duplicate it, but they have not. Why? Because
it's a fraud.
Because it's a fraud.
And it never stops. It doesn't
right? It's a fraud. It's perpetuating a fraud that perpetuates a fraud. The sacrifices that we do to participate in this fantasy is not going to reward our children at the end of the day. And we're seeing it in real time. So what, you like, damn, I'm supposed to raise a little thug nigga? Right? Or you gonna, what would King Combs be in this world without his daddy? What you think is gonna happen to him when they take Diddy out the mix? Right? They're pandering that boy for now. Pretending as if, yeah, we fuck with you. Yeah, your music is cool. You lying. You lying to these children. You lying. Nobody's keeping it real. Right? And yeah, can they get a job? Have they been prepared to work? Do they even know what that entails? Have they been entitled so much? Are they built to be screamed at by a manager or ridiculed or subordinated? Nigga, you heard what I told you to do? Would that shatter their whole world? Would that sink them into a level of depression where they become suicidal? You feel me? So are we building our children? Are we fortifying them to be strong enough to go against the machines in the future? Because that's going to be their ops. That's going to be their competition. It's not going to be the white man. You feel me? The parents failed. Your competition was Billy Bob and them, and you failed to them. I'm here in the South. If it's embarrassing, baby. I took you in the deep South recently, right? Now we gotta keep it real for the people that's at home that might not have got this far into the South.
Woo!
I showed you what these Europeans look like in the South, right? Outside of the glam and the glitz of Buckhead in Atlanta, in the perimeters of Georgia and further down south, even when you get to Florida and all of that, is it embarrassing for that even to be considered competition of melanated, well, able-bodied men and women?
100%. 100%.
Jesus Christ.
That's not them white folk they show you on TV.
You have no idea. And the fact that this pedigree of white folks is sitting around thinking that they got one up on you because of their scaly, bumpy skin, right? And they have the caucasity to fix their mouth to even say something. And they ain't get 30 fucking... I don't want to get this clip. But, nigga, if you understood what was happening, the strikes that was taking place on the job in your name, and this is your competition, this is what they sizing up against you. Yeah. It's embarrassing, yo. It's embarrassing. There's no way we should be in the situation that we're in as a people, going up against what the hell they have considered to be our competition. For my New York people who live near the Hasidic community, it's embarrassing. You should smack yourself. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna get crazy on this live, but you know what I'm talking about. This is an inbred population with buck teeth and bifocals with 2 left feet. And they represent 1% of the population. And they're running routes around you in every single way imaginable. And again, let me stop, because this is what I'm saying. Like, these are the things that are making people intimidated and making them depressed, right? When we tell our truths, when we stand on top and we come back from the battlefield and tell you what's really going on in the battlefield, then you intimidated. And it's like, where are we going to find the balance at? Because I just want to get busy. I just want to get it on. I just want to see us win. But I'm on an island by myself, and it's fucking dangerous at this point, because I'm like, nobody wants it like I want it, or it don't seem like it. But then I'm being subjective, because I don't know that for sure. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell for sure. And I don't want to be vindictive and judgmental and, you know what I'm saying, put my thoughts on other people, and you got to sit there and live with it per se. You don't deserve that. I do apologize. But at the same time, it's my passion speaking, and I'm just like, I wish you could see what I see. You know? But, the post-Stardom depression, like, I don't even want to be on camera. I don't want to be aggrandized. I don't like the concept of influencing and being seen. And I like, that shit is just so corny at this point. You feel me? And when you step away from it, you can really see it. You know what I'm saying? I was having a meeting yesterday with somebody who I really, really, really love, appreciate with all of my heart. and me and this individual have not been able to see eye to eye for whatever reason, and this individual shared with me is like, you're a narcissist, you know? And my mama had told me I was a narcissist before. And I had to sit with that shit because I didn't even really know what it meant. I heard the term, but I had to sit myself down and do some research and do a self-audit and really look at my ways and my actions, because I had to be honest with myself that, yeah, you've been moving around and moving through this world and you don't see what you leave in your wake. It's like the elephant that's not mindful of the ants that's in the grass. Or have I stepped on people? Probably. Have I ignored people? You know what I'm saying? And probably have people been hurt? Probably. Was I always conscious of it? No. Does it make any difference? Not really. Not really. Because you can't turn back the hands of time. So the fact that those people got hurt, those people feel the way that those people have felt, you could come back and apologize and attempt to clean it up. But when they felt what they felt and they went through what they went through, and some of the decisions that they've made in their lives was from that place in real time. And I've been affected by those decisions and not understanding why. Like, damn, why I can't get this person on the phone no more? Why this person won't talk to me? Why this person is siding with all of my known enemies? Not even knowing. It is something that you may have caused your own through neglect. By being too busy doing all the wrong things. Right? Chasing things that was unattainable. Feel me? So I've been in social media since 2005, I think. Whenever this shit got invented, I've been on it since. So I've been able to see people come and go, break shit down, regrow, and come back again, break shit down and come back. Okay? I seen it all. There's very few people where I'm like, I don't know where they came from or their origin points. Or I was at the gate when they came through and shit and I punched they, stamped their cards. I've seen a lot. I've seen the way that this shit has turned niggas out. You know what I'm saying? I seen it. I see the way that it turned me out. I seen it. You feel me? And it's like, so I would be very suspect if we're just feeling that we're just going to go into the 7 God year without having a real conversation about, nigga, you got to be a man on your square before you a God first. You know what I'm saying? You have to, it's a hierarchy. It's called a Godhead for a reason. You know, you have to stand on your foundation and your square as a man in order to have a Godhead. Right? You got to hold up that mantle. It's a heavy mantle. It's the same way, like, is a child born a man? Is a baby male boy a man? That's a question I'm asking. I'm going to look at the chat for once. What is it? No, just like it has the seed of a man in it. It has to unfurl and grow into that thing. But it has everything that it needs to be a man already came with it, per se, biologically. The things it's going to learn and the ideas and the concepts. But if it was left alone and you just put it somewhere and fed it, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it will grow into biologically what we physically would consider to be a man. You know what I'm saying? They saying hell no. I mean, it's when a child is born as a female, she has all of her eggs, right? And she's going to grow in time into a woman. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing that you have this aspect in you of God, but it's something that you have to grow into. You know, it's something that's not necessarily just a given per se. Yes, there's nothing independent of creative force. It's all in us. But this aspect of the overstanding that one attains, the responsibility factor that comes along with that, putting away the things the child do so you're now a man, and then putting down what it means to be a quote unquote man so you become the god of your own particular vessel. Those are stages and phases that you have to go through. It's not just a given. You just can't roll the dice and just be like, oh, you know, just because I made it here, I'm God. No, just because you was born in the manger is not going to make you a God. You can miss your calling and just die a man or a boy. Godding is an action verb, right? It requires action, just like manning does. There's many males that are not men, per se. And I'm not even going to get into the woman shit, y'all. Y'all let them remix the meaning of a woman. And I was, all right, let me give a disclaimer. Let me take a sip and give a disclaimer. Please, y'all, attend to your feelings, because I'm going to say something that, you know, might be disruptive. Okay? Let me take a sip. Let me be very mindful. I just peeped in. I don't know who's in the chat. I just took a look. So I don't know who's listening to this. Let me see. I was utilizing my platform to inform people, you know, from a distance, because I was making an observation. And again, I don't know it all, but it was a keen observation, you know? And the only way that I will put one foot in front of the other is if I'm already comfortable with stepping. So what that means is that if I get this right, and I got that right, and I got this right, and I got that right, then the conclusion later on is like, all right, if I say this, it's not out of hand, because I'm looking back on my track record, and I'm like, this is what led me to have this particular perspective. So when I saw them through legal recourses attempting to define what a woman is, I said, we're in trouble. Because if they can legally redefine or remix what a woman is, the people who have historically always hated women. Thank you, Grandpa. My grandfather told me that the oldest war on this planet was the war against femininity. And Bobby Hemmett confirmed that the other day, too. And the war against femininity goes hand in hand with the war against the devil. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying that she's the devil. I'm saying that the devil ain't what you think it is, and neither is women. Okay? In ancient times, in the archaic sense, before the goddamn Bible came along and bastardized what that meaning was. All right? It was always synonymous with nature, which is untamed, just like a woman. So when they were able through legal means to redefine that and tell you, if a man puts on the wig and lipstick, that you have to call him a woman, and he don't got a womb though, and he don't get menstrual, and he can't get birth, but he got on high heels, and you have to acquiesce and go against your own personal observation and knowing what you know, right? This nigga got Mac mittens, right? He's shaking your hand and almost crack. I'm sorry. Let me be responsible with this discourse. That's that's not cool, because these people have historically had it in for you. And if they can change the meaning of the essence and you acquiesce to it and go along with it, it's a curtain, it's a wrap. I'm like, as long as the last thing, and I've been saying this forever, it's like the last phase and stage of this is the artificial womb. I've been saying this for years, matter of fact. And just last week, everybody gallantly started sharing the artificial womb. And I was like, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Your consciousness is, you already signed that over on social media. They have enough data, right? Everything is big data. You're not even going to, again, here I go, right? I apologize. Let me say this. In my dream, I saw in the future that they were harvesting people's energy and information, and the way that we were interfacing with one another was through virtual means, just like how they're setting up with the metaverse, and they don't need physical bodies because it's not going to be a physical world in a post-nuclear paradigm, okay? They don't need bodies no more. They've changed the use case of people, and they're attempting to change the use case of God. The only thing that you need God for is to eat. That's why God and gut is synonymous. God is only needed when there's a level of variables at play that are not necessarily ones that, you know what's the outcome going to be. That's when you pray. Damn, I need something to eat. When you are in trouble is when you pray to God. When things is hokey-dory and everything is provided for, right? And when the money was flowing, Romeo, and shit like that, you don't need God. If your food could be provided for you and there's nothing that you have to think about because there's no probability factor, then there's no use case for God. When they have artificial wombs to produce babies, there's no use case for women.
Women can do everything a man can do. No use for a man.
Yeah, and when women can do everything that a man could do, it's no use for a man. It's not lost on me that they have changed the DNA code, altered the DNA code, and there's like a few percentage of people on the planet still with pure sperm, right? This shit is a wrap. And please don't, again, I'm not beating the drums of doom and gloom to add to nobody's depression. But I have to tell you what time it is. In my perspective, based on my purview and my observation of how things are going, and if I say I ain't been wrong yet, that's not me being self-aggrandizing. I am a 6 of club, which is the messenger card, and I'm only being true to myself. My human design as a projector, when I say something and I hear it, that's when it becomes true. So I know I ain't speaking lies. I know I'm not speaking lies. Right? And I'm telling you to watch out and protect yourself and protect your womb. And it starts with your relationships with one another. First and foremost, because when you lose or you gain disdain for the other and you start signaling out these signals, I don't need this nigga. Fuck this nigga. Or fuck that bitch. She could suck my dick. That's all she good for. And all of these conversations are taking place right now. You're feeding AI. You're programming AI. And AI is programmed to carry out, like a genie in the bottle, what you're asking for. Okay? Somebody should go to ChatGPT and start, well, ChatGPT only got information up to 2019. That shit is probably going to sound like Kevin Samuels. Can you have a conversation with me real quick before you get into that? My wife, she's younger than me, and she has better insight into male and female relationships that are part of this particular generation than I do. I got a foot in the 70s and shit. I have a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? The 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, that's when I remember, this is when the psychological development that I walk around, and my CPU was programmed during those times. So that's what I know. She born in the 90s, so she could tell me, she's telling me more about the dating scenes in the 2000s, right? I belong to the first wave of social media dating scenes. My shit was different. A woman never approached a man as the initiator of relationships until social media. You feel me? I come from that era. This shit was different. I'll tell you some stories some other day. But we're not going to do that today. I came to her to get a better understanding of the level of programming that went into what it is that we didn't see that we was doing, right? Because we was off doing what the hell we was doing, and we had not seen the mess that we left behind. She grew up in it, so she was a witness to it. You know what I'm saying? Once again, you don't see what you leave in your wake. You too focused on what's next. And the people that come behind you that's picking things up, and the pieces like, nah, yo, this is what you dropped off. You know what I'm saying? Running up to you, is this yours? What you talking about? That ain't mine. I dropped that off. Oh, nah, this just dropped out of your back pocket. This might be yours. So, the nature of this divide that we see between the men and the women, let's take, right, because I like using things that are part of the cultural zeitgeist and current events. So we saw a clip circulating around the internet with Amber Rose and Murder Mook, right? In the essence of the conversation, Murder Mook said some crazy shit about women. Amber Rose checked them in real time, and Murder Mook pretended that he didn't say those things that he just got finished saying on camera, right? And the things that she was saying is that I don't think that you should call us hoes and what else was she saying?
She was
I don't want to mess it up.
That she don't think that men should have anything to say about that. Because, you know, in essence, I agree with what he said. And I'm sure she agreed with what he said too. But at this point, it's like, you shouldn't have nothing to say about it, in my opinion, because you created it. That was the whole video vixen culture, the whole, you know, and when, I remember when, because I used to watch BET Uncut.
Yeah. Fact, yeah.
And I remember when Nelly's video came out, the tip drill,
yes.
And that whole big commotion that it caused, and they brought them on the panel to discuss it. And, you know, they spoke about, listen, these women volunteer themselves, and hey, we need this to make our videos popping, because who don't want to see this shit? Who don't want to see the women, you know? And it's the same thing I learned when I took up advertising. This is how they would get people to buy certain shit, appealing to your lower nature. They would put a woman on whatever billboard next to whatever product they trying to sell, because if you get this product, you could also get this woman.
Right.
And then you were
the Edward
paying,
Bernays panel,
right.
Advertise, yeah, model.
And then you were paying women movie budgets, because his complaint was, you know, now not having talent is the new talent. But y'all was paying women how many millions of dollars to not have talent. And now that they could make a living off of it without your cosign, it's a problem. But you created it. You literally, the whole BBL shit, y'all only put the girls in the videos that had the booty and the titties.
Right, remember?
You know, and
what's
now...
What's the girl?
Buffy?
Buffy, yeah.
Buffy the Body.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those women, and y'all weren't even, you know, not you in particular, but that generation wasn't even paying attention to what it did to the kids who I was at the time.
No, I'm part of that. Yeah.
You know, we were children at the time. We couldn't go to the club. We didn't know what was really going on behind the scenes of the videos. We thought the videos was real.
Right.
So we emulating that. And you can see it now. Everybody is acting just like Jody and Yvette from Baby Boy. that was their favorite movie. It came on BET every fucking day. And right. That's all everybody is emulating. So, but it's because that's where we saw y'all show the love and affection, even in porn. We watch y'all give the attention to that kind of thing. So when we grow up, instead of being like grandma, auntie, and mom who keep getting their heart broken, we gonna be like the girls that you want. So we not gonna get our heart broken.
Now explain that. That was deep.
Just like, you know, I was telling you the other day about Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives.
Yes.
When Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives came out, I probably was, you know, getting out of high school and going into college. Yes. And at that time, it gave us it gave us an insider as to what our favorite rappers, who they were marrying,
Right.
and who they was dealing with, and then we would see who they was cheating on their girls with. And so we like, damn, he would marry a regular girl, but he's still gonna cheat on her with this type of bitch. And I know they keep saying, oh no, it's not good to be a hoe, but that's the one that he choosing. So why not just be the hoe, the side chick? I still get to have his attention. He's still gonna take care of me. I just don't gotta deal with the heartbreak. You know, and so when you see these young girls out
fringe
here,
benefits.
it's easier.
Right.
I don't have. You ever had your heart broken before?
I did, and
That shit do not feel good.
right. So when we talking about depression, and somebody brought this concept of suicide up, and I was like, I don't quite remember being suicidal, but then the conversation came to saying I didn't have the courage to do it because of the people that I thought that I was gonna leave behind. I remember having that thought, so I'm trying to revisit. I'm like, well, when did I feel like that then? And what made me suicidal? It was heartbreak. And the heartbreak had, death and other things attached to it. There was loss of lives and stuff like that involved. But, yeah, I remember that. It was terrible. It was terrible. Jesus.
Yeah, and then, it's not like, because I don't think that women don't want to be with men, just like I don't think men don't want to be with women, especially in the black community, but we have such skewed perceptions and mentalities of what that's supposed to look like, based off of everybody else's ideals or experiences instead of our own. Like I just had a conversation with somebody on Facebook. Someone put up a post like, the white girls are getting married at 24, but my community is on the internet arguing about 50-50. And this one guy was like, well, a lot of the women in our community, they don't deserve to be married because they don't got no motion. They don't got nothing going for themselves. They don't got no business in particular, he said. They're not business owners, and marriage is a business. So if you don't have a business, you don't deserve marriage. And it's like, I mean, I had a business, but my business wasn't it wasn't popping or nothing like that. Was I not worthy of marriage when you met me? Is that what made me worthy? Is the fact that I could bring money to the table? Is that it? Because then if all I bring is money to the table, and then I can't do anything else, or I don't have certain values, does that now mean that I'm not worthy? Of love? And this is the dichotomy that keeps going back and forth, because women, from my perspective, I was born in the 90s, and I grew up in the era of women feeling like they weren't worthy of love, especially black women. It's like you gotta jump through so many hoops to be worthy of the black man's love.
Facts.
And then especially when he choose you, you better be happy he chose you, because bitches don't get chose. You gotta take whatever he give you, and you can't say shit. You can't do nothing.
Right, you gotta be cool. Yeah, you gotta be so cool with that. Bitch, shut up and sit down. You got chose.
Yep. So
consider yourself lucky.
Consider yourself lucky.
And you're gonna take what I give.
I may cheat on you, but hey, I take care of you.
Like right before we started this, we saw a clip. I was trolling through my page and I seen something with Fabio Foreign. So he's on live with Asian Doll in his crib. And then the blogs picked the story up and say, oh, he with her now. And his baby mom's got the phone today. This nigga's in the bed sick. And she's like, I don't know why these bloggers saying that this nigga's with Asian Doll. He right here in the bed sick. And we still together. Dumbass nigga. And like, she's like, you embarrassed me. Why would you put me in a situation like that? They was in their crib. And he's on live with the side piece with the slide off, who's notorious, proposition and putting, making the mother of his children vulnerable like that.
But do you think that also, in addition to him, taking those actions, do you think that the industry has a part to play in that? Because I'm only saying
absolutely.
That because I remember when Fabio came out and started getting popping, even with all that demon time shit, when he used to do his interviews, the one thing that he stressed is, I'm staying with my family. I got my kids. Me and my baby mom, we together. I don't do none of that. We've been together for years, since we was kids. And he was just so that's one thing I remember about him. He was just so adamant about keeping his family together.
The industry don't want that.
That when I keep seeing him doing, I'm like, maybe this is just some industry stunt. That not to say he's not responsible for his actions, but this plays into the whole social media thing. This is the industry thing as well, because people are literally coming up with these relationship goals and scenarios and requirements based off of the fucking internet. And when people ask me about relationships, I'm like, if I would have listened to the shit on the internet, I would have never been. I would never be not just in a relationship, but I would not have a relationship that felt as safe as this one, that felt as comfortable with this one, because it took me a minute to get here. And this relationship was based off, for me, the values that I accumulated throughout my life after trials and tribulations, and realizing, what was really important to me. Not what everybody else thought I should have because I look a certain way or because I'm a certain person. They think I should have this type of, relationship or this type of life. But what was important to me, because at the end of the day, when this camera go off, I'm the one that got to be in a relationship with you every day. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that got to go to sleep with you. I'm the one that got to wake up with you. Nobody else has to deal with that. We may take pictures and videos and shit, and it may look beautiful, and it is. And sometimes it's not. But I'm the one that has to be comfortable with that. It's not up to anybody else. And I think that's what people really have to start. That's why I keep saying we need to reassess our values. What is really important to you outside of the social media? Because you can't keep dodging the heartbreak and trying to find what other people's experiences is so I don't make the mistake. Cool. It's cool to have wisdom, but you have to have your own experiences to know, all right, this is what is important to me in a relationship. I don't care what Kevin Samuel say. I don't care what nobody else say. I know this is what works for me.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the thing about the whole love paradigm. If we're hopping past appreciation, right? And appreciation cannot be established if you don't establish value propositions, right? How can you appreciate someone if you don't value them? And how can someone matter if you don't know the value of... Because, again, for something to matter, that's implying that you know the value of it. And for something to have value implies that, once again, that there's a level of appreciation. All of those things have to be established before you running around telling somebody that you love them, which is such a word that gets thrown around that has no teeth in it. You know what I'm saying? And it does not exist in any ancient traditions or society. Everyone else around the world is looking at you like you a baby, talking about, oh, I love you. And what the fuck does that mean?
What does that mean?
Where's the value? Where's the appreciation? Because love should be able to show. They like, that's a society that loves, just like that's a Christian nation? Like how? How, Sway? It's impossible. Right? Or else it would show up different. So the community, the peace, love, and light, it don't show up because it's not real. Peace is intangible, and that's a fallacy. Love, because you can only arrive through peace through war. So what war have you fought for peace? You've been turning the cheek since you got here. It would appear to be. Right? Why did you stop fighting if that's the case? Love is, and light is an illusion. It takes 8 minutes for the sun to get here. Nigga, you live in darkness at all times.
You wouldn't know light without darkness.
You live in darkness at all times. Cut it out. Light casts is an illusion. Hence the fact that I keep telling you, I took the fucking mantle of the blue pill on thing to show you this shit is about an illusion. The sky ain't blue and neither is the ocean. We live in an illusionary world. They scratching their heads. Is it holographic? Is it... Motherfucker, is it blue? Is it blue? Huh? You living on Pandora? It's black. It's dark. Embrace it. Understand it for what it is and move on. Practice gratitude. You know what I'm saying? You can't change that. But if you don't appreciate it, it's going to break you down. You can't get over it, you can't get under it, and you can't get around it. You have to get through it. And how do you get through it? Open hand, receive it, appreciate it, understand it for what it is. And then you can get to the light. But it's not the other way around. Let me play this real quick.
is that a lot of people that talk about spirituality online, they only talk about the good part. You know, they talk about love and light, and they make it seem like this shit is all peaches and creams. But they don't tell you about the dark side. They don't tell you that when you actually open up your third eye and you actually start seeing beyond the matrix, bro, it's a lot of pain and suffering that comes with that shit, right? And so you got to understand that pretty much everything we was ever taught was a lie. So when you become conscious, you have to reprogram the way that you think. So this means you have to go back in your mind and you have to resolve past traumas. You have to confront your own demons. And see, a lot of people don't want to talk about this. They want you to think that it's all about love and everything is sweet. But they don't talk about the real shit. They don't talk about the fact that, you know, you can become depressed from having all this spiritual knowledge, right? Because you can become so elevated in your consciousness to where the physical earth bores you, the physical earth is beneath you, and you can begin to hate this realm. Because look, man, I'm going to tell you some real shit, man. I know a lot of people who got too deep into this conscious information, and they ended up just, you know, crashing out or taking themselves out. You know, because you got to understand, man, this shit is not for the weak of heart. This shit will break you. This shit will destroy you. You talking about taking everything that somebody has known to be real and true and destroying that shit, right? And rebuilding your whole life, rebuilding your whole mind from the ground up. That's one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people that talk about spirituality online, they only talk about the good part. You know, they talk about love and light, and they make it seem like this shit is all peaches and creams.
Yeah, so what he said, you know what I'm saying? People are being hurt by these false realities and these false expectations of wanting to live up to something that's really not real. It's a marketing campaign, y'all. And I'm telling you, I was here from the beginning. I seen this shit get put together. And it has morphed into something totally different. It's not how it started, right? There was a genuine appreciation. I will not use the word love. Because somebody that don't know me can't love me. You know what I'm saying? The people who've known me all my life don't necessarily love me. How can some nigga who don't know me, that don't love himself, just doing an 8-hour lecture to make it through because of the fucking demons that they're struggling with, they supposed to love me? No, it's therapy. It's a cathartic period where it's like, I'm going to share this shit with you because I appreciate the fact that, you know, I want to wake up from this lie and I want to get you up out of it as well. But I'm not capable of loving you because I don't have nothing to offer you. I'm still trying to put the pieces back together myself. And I dare somebody to tell me that that's the fucking, that ain't the truth of the matter. Who was there? But now we running around talking about, oh, I love you, and nobody's showing no goddamn appreciation. Has nobody established no value systems, right? How you going to love somebody and you haven't shown appreciation? And how you going to appreciate somebody if you don't understand value? You know the cost of everything, but you don't know value. So don't fucking tell me about somebody's life mattering if you don't know the value propositions of what that life entails. And I don't even talk about a dollar amount. I ain't talking about you coming to me talking about, yeah, your birth certificate is worth $1 trillion. You ain't treating yourself like you worth $1 trillion. You ain't treating that baby like it's worth $1 trillion. Even if you want to park your car there, you know, run around like, yeah, I'm worth my UCC birth certificate. You're not even doing that. So don't miss me with the love shit. That's a disarming mechanism. You feel me? That's romanticism. Those are Roman antics. That's a modern term. Hold on, I showed you this shit. You can't even find it in no ancient languages. And I hate to be beating up on, you know, people's love paradigm, but we can become so much better versions of ourselves for one another if you understand initially it's about appreciation and gratitude, right? Get your values together first. You cannot love somebody who have nothing to offer them. How can your love be so unconditional? You feel me? And you know, you can't even explain what your condition is, but you got unconditional love. How, Schway? Your cup has to be able to runneth over for you to give of anything of yourself. Here we go. Look. There we go. Right? You'll notice all of them European countries and languages, root languages. You ain't gonna find no African languages with love in it. And like I said, in the metal netta, that's a baby to the planet when you talk about ancient traditional systems. Okay? The people who are enslaving you and killing you are running around talking about love or the Prince of Peace. And come on, son. Come on. That's a disarming mechanism. I know niggas who do their wives dirty. I love you. That's a disarming mechanism. Those are catechisms for people to put their goddamn their guards down. I appreciate you. Show appreciation. Establish value first. And then we could talk about the loftiest aspect of what quote unquote love entails. Shit ain't real. Look, that's where it ends at. That's where it ends. It's like 20 languages. Feel me? Come on now. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah, but where did Kemet get his shit from? Because you know how many civilizations predated that? They was borrowing as well. And then the interpretation of Medu Netta is not even 100 years old. And it all deals with romanticism. It all deals with romanticism. So the myrrh is the pyramid, but it's love too. Come on, son. You have to understand, just like this. Let me stop.
Well, like he was saying, that what he was saying was, it's just so real when it comes to this peace, love, and light, because no one is really dealing with that darkness. And darkness is not just about, the things that you scared of, like a goat with a pitchfork. It's about that part of yourself that you hide from everybody else. And that's the scariest and darkest part about the peace, love, and light community is that, like you said, they be the darkest. They have so much shit going on that they're ignoring, that they're running from.
Hold on, my nigga. I am not watching nothing from Maladoma Some talking about love. Next. Not that form of love he talks about. That's just a side note. Continue.
Yeah, that,
We ain't doing agape love.
The shadow side, and not in a I'm better than you way, or I'm doing something that you can't do, but on some real shit. It could be just, and before I get into that's the thing that because I came into this on Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic. And one thing that I could say about the two of them that I feel like people really gravitated towards is that they demystified everything and they made it accessible to you, as opposed to where some people use it as a PR campaign, a brand, to where it's like, yeah, I'm this way, I'm peace, love, and light because I ate spinach and kale, I don't eat no meat, I get sunlight all the time, I don't eat no sugar. And it's like, well, damn, I do all of that shit. Well, I'm how many 10 years behind? I can't catch up. I'm already damn near, 40 years old. It's a wrap for me.
Right. What I'm saying is that if the existence of this planet is millions of years old, just like God, how the fuck did he just deposit his name and his world into the world only 6,000 years ago? Same thing with love. How did it just get here if we've been here all this time and love is required to exist, right? And a continuance of life and everything else, you would think that love is a prerequisite since it's the only thing that exists in the universe. Why did it take so long to get here on the planet? That's all I'm saying. Let's investigate it. Don't get in your feelings. We can open an investigation. I'm telling you what the ancient African traditional systems implored to me and shared with me. It shook my paradigm. What I'm saying is that the community don't practice love, so we should stop using that word. If you can't defend the woman that's right next to you, how you gonna tell her that you love her?
Listen, when we had that ceremony with the Changa, the Bufo, and I had that experience of what I consider love, but I'm only using that term because I don't know what other term to use. When I was in that experience, I couldn't even speak it because I had to dance. I had to move because it literally said you don't even have the language on the planet to begin to even describe what the fuck love is. It was a fucking frequency that if you are not a part of that frequency, it just didn't exist there. Period. It wasn't about a word. It wasn't about an action. Because I'm in the moment and I'm thinking about what about people who kill? What about people who hurt people? They don't know what the fuck it is. They don't experience that frequency. So of course they're gonna, act in this way. It's not even, the love thing, like you said, it's a word. It's a fucking romanticized, a romanistic word, a term. But the true essence of what I felt was more like compassion. It was more like how they describe of God: mercy, grace, appreciation.
If you don't understand compassion, if you're
empathy,
not showing appreciation, if you have not established value, personally, I'm just saying with me, do not talk to me about love. I'm going to shatter that paradigm for you and take you back, like how they put the dog's nose in certain places. I'm like, show me this first. Show me this. Don't talk to me like this and not show me this, because I don't believe you. You're going to need more people. I experienced what she's talking about in an induced state on drugs, nigga. All right? But my default was not that. Appreciation, though, that's something that's real. You feel me? Compassion is something that's real. You know what I mean? It's very dangerous. I'm just telling, again, I'm getting up here and I'm explaining to you, especially for people who have come into this community, who may be blind to the going-ons of this community, as well as people who are out here in the world. Do not allow these particular words to be mechanisms, right, that have you lower your guard and think that you're somewhere this lofty in heaven, like.
That's exactly
right?
What it's
when Yal Dabrov and all of them is running the show down here. Keep your eyes open.
What it's become.
Right?
Now everybody can say vibe, energy.
Yeah, vibe, and everybody lets their guard down and their hair down. And you around full-blown demons. And this is not up for conversation or argument or discussion. I'm telling you for personal experience. Right? You should take this and understand that I'm giving you an eyewitness account of some real shit that's going on in this community. Right? I don't know if you could prove any of that. I can show you the demons is real. You feel me? The rest of that shit you talking about is off planet somewhere. But I can show you what's on this planet here running around in real time. And, hence the fact that we got the word from the same people that would tell you that agape love is a form of love. Like a nigga penetrating somebody's anus. Like, no, stop it. That's called Roman antics. Where did the word come from? Let's dig deeper. Let's create a research committee and just go a little bit deeper, because you're going to find your ancestors in this quest for you to find this amorphous term that you're so attached to, but you have no relationship with your ancestors or the things that they established prior to these terms that will root you in reality and prepare you for the real world. Okay? Because we over here in the fishbowl thinking that we the shit. And it's just not true. You feel me? And me personally, I'm just saying, I'm not going to move into this phase of 2023 being attached to these lofty terms that don't hit, that don't have definitive definitions enough, and that people are not standing on. They're just using terms, again, as disarming mechanisms. And God, that's another term that is not ancient. That has a German root. It means gut. It means gut, your stomach. God and food is synonymous. So again, but if we understood these terms and we had a better understanding, then you would be like, well, goddamn, they just had a frost around the whole country. You know what that means? They just knocked the whole food service out. Shit. And then Hurricane Ian knocked all of the soil out of Fort Myers. There might be an issue when it comes to food in the spring and the summer. I need to get in contact with God in the 7th year. I need to start planting food and putting my hands in the dirt, in the soil, right? The darkness, the mud. But because you're so detached from that, you don't want to go nowhere near the dirt because you want to keep your fingers clean. And that's not going to be sufficient for these dark times that are ahead of us. You dig what I'm saying? And the dark times that are ahead of us is nothing to be scared of. We can walk through the dark. We do it every day. This planet is submerged in darkness. It takes the light 8 minutes to get here. So if they cut the sun off, you would be in the reality of the situation. The garden is dark. Even the Bible told you the shit was dark here first. That's about one thing they got right.
Well, what do you do if you don't have that? What if you do if you don't have that access? And I'm only asking.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
This is why I felt like people like Bobby was important, because it wasn't just about the goons and goblins in the darkness, but he showed you that you don't need nothing but you. And I think, for me, as a young woman, I was 17 when I came into that. As a young woman who came up I was born into Islam, raised in Christianity. My mom's side was Catholic. My mom turned Buddhist. I had to find my own kind of, get on my own journey. But when I couldn't relate to what everybody else was putting in front of me, I just was like, fuck it, all I got is me. And I'm good. Whenever, I just had to make sure I was good with myself, that I could live with my own decisions. So when I came into his information and he just kept stressing that, not to negate tradition, and not to negate,
yes.
thousands and thousands of years of knowledge and tradition. But if you don't have access to that, does that mean that you're now doomed? You're fucked. And I would have, I couldn't take that for myself. I'm not going to sit here and know that I'm alive. I'm the main character in my movie, and I'm fucked because I don't know everything about the terms. I don't know how to plant. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I don't have access to a fucking garden. Everywhere is concrete. So what else can I do that can get me there? Like I remember we were talking to Al Keebalon one night, and I was telling him about a dream I had with some other, I'm going to call them extraterrestrial beings, because I didn't physically see them, but they were telepathically communicating with me. And it was a building, an automatic building that you had no key for. You just had to know how to get in that motherfucker. And they were like, listen, you're going to have to relax. If you want to get on the other side of that door, get on the other side of that door. There was no kale for me to eat. There was no sunshine there. There was no soil for me to dig in. All I had to do was really calm my fucking self down, stop thinking so fucking much, and just do it. And get on the other side of that door. Now, that don't mean that I don't have to take care of my physical body. I'm fucking here. You feel me? But it also doesn't mean that because I don't have all of those knowledge, because some people are just finding out about this shit.
Granted, yes.
You feel
absolutely.
me? And so we can't sit up here with all the knowledge that we have and just, if you don't know that, you behind, nigga, you fuck, I don't know what to tell you. Nah, but you got a mind. You ended up here. Something told you to come here and hear it. So you have every right to learn how to utilize what you do have, even if it's just your motherfucking mind.
Granted, yes, absolutely.
And so that's what I think, because somebody was mentioning like Bobby and shit like that, but I think that's, one of the most important things about it. It's not just about catering to the occult, and the occult is good because it breaks shit down to the symbolism of shit. You don't got to get so technical. It's real simple. This shit is a symbol for that, because that's how your fucking mind works. We could talk all day, but you only gonna register with what your mind actually took in and what you can fucking remember, on a subconscious level. And so if that's all you got is your motherfucking conscious and subconscious, then hey, I think it's our responsibility, if we know better, to tell you this is how you could better utilize that to get to whatever area you need to get into.
Granted, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you may be a better advocate of expressing these things than I am. Because admittingly, I'm telling you, I am far gone with I can only draw on the information I got so much in me in terms of the information. That's where I pull from.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And then you have experience, but I'm only speaking from a person on both sides, because I have a lot of information, and these are conversations I had with my mom. Somebody who has accumulated so much information that they felt like they had to sit the fuck down and stop, because where's the information coming from myself? I'm intaking everything. I'm learning so much and I'm intaking, but what is really coming from me? And I think that we have to learn how to balance that. Not only taking information, but what if you ain't got a book? What if you don't got an internet to Google? What if you don't have the people that you have and the resources that you have that could call you and be like, yo, Blue, guess what I just found out? Some people don't have that, and so they come to you. I'm not.
No. It's please do. I'm just saying.
Like,
and this is the dichotomy.
Don't have because this is what sends people into a depression. They hearing
Absolutely.
all of this shit,
Absolutely.
and they like, damn, this motherfucker know all this. I don't have no library. I don't even know what book to read. I don't know where to start. I'm damn near 45, almost 50, 60 years old. It's a wrap for me. You feel me? But that's not the case. The fact that your spirit even led you to some shit like that is good enough. This is your beginning. This is where you start. You ain't got a book? Fine. Meditate until your your mind tells you something, because it brought you here. It's going to bring you to something else.
Right.
Now,
how do you meditate? Then the question is, well, how do I properly meditate? So there's always going to be questions.
Absolutely.
And I want to say,
I'm still going.
There's always going to be questions, but you always have the answers. And for all of the research that I did, you know what I'm saying, and all of the information that I've been through, I went all the way around the block just to come back to say, I think I knew all of this shit when I was 14. And I was just in my imagination. These was the conversations I was having with myself, but I couldn't prove it to myself.
That's what it comes
so
down
then I went
to.
out into the darkness,
and that's
into
what people need to
know,
the
jungle.
Is that it's the most simplest shit. It's not extravagant. It's not that magnificent. It's not what everybody is painting it to be. Oh, you got to get out. And I mean, you do got to get out in sunlight and shit. Like, I'm just using it as an example. It's not all of this amazing. If you don't do this, then you just never going to get it, or you far behind. No, you have everything that you need. You just have to learn to trust yourself. What you say, you got to trust yourself. Yes. You got to have the discernment. How do you build the discernment? By trusting your motherfucking self. You have to go through trial and error. You got to fall a couple times. Even like I was telling you, shit, I be in dark spaces. I remember when I was good. Everything was good. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly, I didn't know how I was going to get it, but I knew I wanted it and I knew I would get it. That was enough for me. And then I've been in spaces where I didn't know shit. You feel me? So you got to go through both to kind of understand and have your own experience. And then we share the information with one another. But I think it's our responsibility, if we do have a certain level of information or we do have access to certain resources that others may not, let's not talk to them like, well, I'm up here and I've been doing this for years and you just starting. I don't know what the fuck you gonna do. Cause that's how it sounds to people sometimes. And then now they gotta constantly come to you because they don't know, they don't got the time, they gotta go to work, they got kids. Like, I don't even know when I'm gonna have time to dedicate myself to this information, but I know it's important.
Facts.
So you have, I think it's our responsibility to say you are enough.
Yeah, keep saying that. Keep saying that.
You are enough. Your
Right.
mind is just enough. But the fact that you hear and you found this kind of information, that's the spark right there. But just trust yourself and give yourself some grace.
I want you to go just a little bit deeper on that. You are enough. You are worthy. You know what I'm saying? This information is yours. It's inside of you. It's being expressed on the outside of you, but it's something that if you resonate with it, it's something inside of you. You feel me? So I just like the way that you say it better than the way I say. I want you to just continue, please.
I appreciate that. But it is, and it's real, and I'm speaking from a real place. I ain't speaking from judgment. I'm speaking from experience. At this point in my life, I'm practicing surrender. I'm a Virgo. My thing is I always want to know. I always have to know. A lot of the time, most of my life, I've been on my own. So I felt like I always have to be aware of my surroundings, what's going on. I don't like to be uncertain or unknowing. But I've been thrust into this position where this may be a point in my life where I got to surrender to the unknown, which is, ironic because that's what meditation was. When I started meditating, the hardest part to really meditate, and when I mean meditate, y'all, I mean I would just close my eyes, lay down, and get as comfortable, as relaxed as I could. Like if you in the ocean and you trying to float, and you gotta get real relaxed for your body to float. That's meditation, right? That's the meditation you need to be on. And so I would get to that point, and then I would feel scared because I felt alone. I felt like it was dark. I didn't know what was going to come up. And then one day I'm like, wait, it's just me. Like, what the fuck is going to happen if I just close my eyes and I'm laying here with myself? Like, what am I really scared of? And when I finally got past that barrier, it was very liberating for me. I was able to open up to a lot of different things. My dreams became a lot more elaborate and just, it was wild. But that act of surrender is what I keep trying to, and at this point in my life, I keep trying to remind myself of, is that I didn't know what the fuck to expect. People was telling me at 17 years old, do not fucking meditate. Don't get so deep. And I'm just like, wait, but I'm just by myself. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just laying there with my fucking eyes closed. But I had this, even though I felt like bold, I had this subconscious thing in my mind, like, oh my God, what if something happened to me? What the fuck is going to happen to me? I close my eyes every night. So right now I'm trying to practice this, that getting into that surrendering to the unknown. I don't have too much information on it right now, other than maybe that's just what I got to do right now. And then when I come out of it and I get some answers, I come back and let y'all know, okay, this was my, this is what I learned from that moment of surrender. But we kind of got to have some grace with ourselves and not put so much pressure on ourselves to attain something that we see or that we think is how we should be, instead of just going through the fucking experience. Because even when it comes to the relationship stuff, people come at me asking me about how do I get a male? How do I get this relationship? But it's more so about how they want it to look. They think that it looks a certain way and this is what I want. But it's not about what it looks like. If you're working from the aesthetic first, you're working backwards. You gotta reassess your values. You have to trust yourself. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to spirituality. It could get dark. It gets real fucking dark because here you were like this one way, you like this now, and everybody you know is looking at you like, you alright? You alright? But one thing that people know about me is that I trust myself. And so they trust me. Because they know, well, at least I know she trusts herself, she's going to be alright. And so I think that, again, like I said, with us having certain resources and information, that we need to be responsible enough to let people know that, listen, you may not have access to, what you do have access to is your fucking mind. And these entities, these spirits, they always there. They're always around you. You have access to your Akasha, your DNA, your family members, all of them who live inside you. You have access to that. It may take some time for you to get access because you literally have to reprogram your mind. Some people it's easier than others, but it's always there. So if you don't have the book, if you don't got Google, well, okay, let's focus on the meditation then. Just for 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I would go for an hour sometimes, a couple hours. Until I've created my own kinds of meditations to heal myself, different meditations to calm myself down, whatever, but you have access to everything that you need, period. And those things will lead you into other things that will help you along your journey, whatever your path is. Even if that means that you come into a live like this, or you end up looking at it, coming into a blue pill or a red pill or, whoever. But just know that you have it. It's not outside of you. And just because you don't have that doesn't mean that you fucked. You only fucked if you think you fucked.
Facts.
Period.
Whew.
Period, poo. So I may not have the cure to depression just yet, but for those who may look at certain people or, get into certain channels that feel like, makes you feel unworthy, makes you feel inadequate or inferior, stick to some shit where you can work on yourself. Get some self-help books, get some conscious mind books, anything that you could use to, how can you utilize your own mind? Start with that first. Because other people are going through that shit behind the camera and they're not telling you about it.
That's a fact.
But people like, Blue Pill and other people, they get the phone calls late at night in the morning time and shit like that.
I don't know one person with their shit together in this community. Not one. And that's a very human thing. And like I said, we need to focus more time on the human element because we're speaking to other human beings. You feel me? And we need to keep it real to be more relatable. That's the way that we help one another. Not just helping people, it's helping one another. Like I said, as a projector, when I say things is when they're real. So I'm speaking to myself as well. You feel me? But I'm also a 6 of clubs, so I'm a messenger. I'm intuitive. I'm here to deliver messages and get the hell up out of the way. You know what I'm saying? She's a 7 of clubs. She's better at doing what she's doing right now. You feel me? So we just have to learn how to work what we have, for the best of who we are. You know what I'm saying? I can't be everything for everyone.
Right.
So I'm looking to find a way to go back to when I first started or when I didn't know or some, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what, when I go back into memory lane and tell my stories when I was younger. Because again, when I was young, I realized I knew all of this. This is what I was utilizing to survive, playing cops and robbers in the streets with stick-up kids, police, and wolves and everything else. I was using all of these things. I just didn't have names for it. I couldn't explain it. But I had practical ways that this was my Jedi mind trick techniques. And this is how, I had to be in connection with my higher mind and my intuitiveness, because that voice in my head, it would be like, move, nigga, leave. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that saved my life. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have that connection or that relationship with myself. So it's always been in us. You know what I'm saying? You just may not recognize it for what it is.
Exactly.
But it's always been with you. You know what I'm saying? The voice may not have been as loud, but it has always been with you. Learn to trust yourself. Right? And again, before we get to love, appreciate all of the journey, all of the aspects. Show gratitude, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. I don't chastise my 14-year-old self. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, even I told a story about the Santa Claus and the Christmas thing. My daddy didn't want to buy me G.I. Joes. I went and stole money out of my stepmother's purse to go buy G.I. Joes. That started my long odyssey towards boosting. So, in which I will never denounce or you know what I'm saying? Because there was so much honor amongst thieves. This is where I learned loyalty. This is where I learned dedication. This is where I learned it. If your word ain't your bond, you're going to get your throat slit. You know what I'm saying? This is when it was really real for real. It's the opposite of what people was talking about. You couldn't be a snake in that environment. People were trusting you with their lives in real life time, in real life situation. We really had a band and a brotherhood during that time. So this is where I got to see where it's real. That's why I know that the shit going on today is super fake. Because I was exposed to something that was real. I was exposed to something where these young brothers would lay their lives and take lives for you in real time for real reasons. And that was out of appreciation, gratitude, and value. They valued my existence enough to protect it. I wouldn't call that love. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not dismissive of any of my experiences. I have to embrace all of it so I don't go into mental depression and breakdown and regret. You know what I'm saying? I embrace it all. I love it all. You know what I'm saying? Or should I say I appreciate it all? I have gratitude for it all. I value it all. I see the worth of it all. You know what I'm saying? And it has made me who I am today. So I wouldn't change a thing. You feel me? Right. But at the same time, it's like I'm even more excited as to where I potentially, am able to go with a partner in my life that I'm able to learn from and also at times be a teacher too. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be able to instill some of these things in our children and learn what their values are, what their personality is, what the messages that they come with. We're going to be better listeners and better teachers as well. So there's so much to look forward to, right? So I am unapologetically optimistic regardless of whatever's going on outside. whatever's going on, wherever the economy's at, whatever's going on social media, I will always be unapologetically optimistic because I have so much to look forward to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's my message for us all, that, you know, for those of us especially that may be dealing with or flirting with, you know, any level of stress, anxiety, or depression, you know, the SAD syndrome. Because it's real. People are literally taking their lives because they cannot compete with the artificial aspects of what social media and society is projecting. You know, people are feeling less than and not worthy, and consciousness is playing a big part of that as well, with the weaponizing of intellectualism, because it has become a racket, you know? It's a marketplace. The woke marketplace was valued at $44 billion in 2018 by Forbes. That was just the woke marketplace, right? They never evaluated what the conscious marketplace looked like post-CMOS cartels and all of that.
No, that's a fact.
You know, sage and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Shea butter, calorie shells, and what these niggas is really, you know, jugging for. So,
And it's painful because this spiritual shit really work.
because the spiritual shit really works.
That's the shit that hurts the most, is that this is some shit that really, really work. But it's just being packaged, branded, marketed, you know, for somebody's come up. And people lose out because they just so fast track of buying into what looks like peace, what looks like serenity, what look like tranquility, what look like a good energy. Not understanding that in order to even, you know, understand that or feel that or experience that, you got to deal with the part of you that you're trying to run away from so bad. And then we see it. We keep running into the same shit. And then for those of you who do see it, who recognize it, you start to feel a little crazy because, shit, this shit don't look right to me, but everybody else acting like it's the shit. So maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the fucked up one. Maybe I'm just a hater or some shit. And then you find out, nah, you was right. You was seeing it. So that's the importance of doing that, what they call shadow work. And shadow work is not just crying or going to a therapist. It's that real shit. What you do and why you do it, and knowing that for yourself. You don't got to tell nobody. You could tell if you want to. But it's really up to you to know what you're doing and why you do it. And you have to live with that.
Right. So we started with Ye, post-stardom, depression, right? You can't say that you love a man. You don't know him. But you can have compassion for him. You can have empathy for him, right? You can have a level of understanding for him. You can still hold space for him because he has given you moments. You know what I mean? He's more than just an entertainer, I think, in most of people's lives, whether they want to admit it or not. So I'm just, you know, I started this by saying, you know, let's hold space for him because he has brought mental illness to the forefront, and we can't look at him and be subjective because he showed us something that, you know, some of us was like, damn, I'm able to see the mental illness in myself. You know what I mean? I'm able to see the narcissist in myself. I'm able to see how crazy I sound in public myself. Talking these talking points. You feel me? So, yeah, I wouldn't, you know, I don't personally want to see no harm done to the man, right? So I got 4 chambers of my heart. I have a enough space to have compassion and empathy enough to say, yo, I'm going to send a signal out just to make sure wherever he's at, he could receive this level of warmth to be like, yo, my brother, you know what I mean? I'm here with you, man. I don't understand the full extent of what you're going through, but I understand enough to say, stay strong, whatever you're going through. You know what I mean? I know that you can probably utilize just a little bit more support and strength, right? I'm not with the circus clown, you know, peanut gallery, just throwing rocks at you, thinking that I'm holier than thou. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show up as a brother in this situation and still hold space because, you know, vicariously, some of us saw ourselves being destroyed and him being destroyed. whether we want to admit it or not. And when the signal goes out that it happens, quote, not they can, or it happens because he played a hand in his own meltdown publicly, right? But people is like, damn, that happened to a billionaire. You know, what chance do I stand? Mm-hmm. Right? You got to reconcile all of these things that are being signaled to your subconscious, or you'll never stand up and speak for yourself again. You know what I mean? You're going to tuck your tail. You're going to clip your sack. You're going to do a lot of things to avoid confrontation because the fear paradigm is going to freeze you. You're going to be frozen in fear like the whole country was this past weekend, right? And then be mindful of this conversation taking place on the internet with Meg and Tory and the undertones that are being expressed and the projections and the anger, you know what I'm saying, and the hurt and the trauma and the vicariousness, people living through both of these people, you know, almost like Halloween when you put the mask on. That's what they out here doing, you know what I'm saying, to get their thing off. And we need public forums so we can hear one another speak, you know what I'm saying? We need to hear it. Put your pain on the table.
I feel like the celebrity thing, especially when it comes to black people, because we feel like we're not heard or we're not seen, our celebrities are our way to be heard. When shit happens to them, it's like, okay, now we can show. Once you see what you're doing to him, that's what you do to all of us. You see what you do to her? That's what we all go through. And so this is why, you know, I keep stressing that not only discernment, but the reassessing of values. And we really have to look at our own individual situations because we start projecting. And nobody was there with Megan and Tory that night, except for the people who was there. We don't know what the fuck happened. But everybody is so emotionally moved because of their own personal experiences. And they want justice, not for Meg. Y'all could give a fuck about that girl. Because when she was up in the club after her foot got shot, then nobody give a fuck. But when it comes to you, nobody was you didn't get to have justice for yourself. Nobody came and took anybody to court for you. Nobody stood up for you. Nobody showed up for you. So that's where
you wasn't on the nightly news.
You wasn't on the nightly news. So that's where your shadow work comes in because it hurts. It's painful. When I hear certain people's stories, I be like, damn, I don't even know how you made it. I don't know if I could have made some shit like that. But you know, you just have to deal with yourself because at the end of the day, you are the main character in your movie. You have to do that work for yourself, and you have to turn that. You have to do the alchemy. You got to turn that shit into something else that you can utilize. Turn that shit into fuel. We cannot keep projecting ourselves onto people because we're not seeing both sides. There's a lot of shit, like I said, the women have gone through from what I've grown up seeing. And where I kind of understand why they're doing the things that they do, whether I agree with it or not, I empathize with it because it's like, yeah, I know what that shit feel like. And I've seen how men have carried themselves and carried this shit on. But I also do not know what it's like to be a man. I don't know what it's like to be a young black boy. I don't know what it was like to be raised like that. I don't know the shit that y'all had to go through. I could only imagine if you supposed to be the leader of this motherfucker and you subservient to some fucking hunchback ass cracker, I would feel a certain way too. You supposed to be the king of the jungle and they trying to tell you that fucking this old toad scaly face looking motherfucker is better than you. I could only imagine what that shit must be like. So I think that we have to kind of again reassess our values, do that shadow work, but we need to
the niggas that look like trolls,
they look crazy.
They look crazy.
They look crazy, and
it's
I could
like,
only
that's before you,
and
black man.
When we were in the barn, there was some African brothers coming in with the garb that you had on, and I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at these niggas, and I'm like, I could only imagine if I'm this powerful, fine, fly black man, and I gotta have this motherfucker foot on my neck.
Billy Bob Thornton.
I would probably lose my fucking shit too.
Facts. You have no idea.
I could only imagine. So we gotta have compassion for one another. We have to have these open conversations where we could both hear each other out and understand, like, yeah, we women, we've been through shit, and y'all men have to understand the part that y'all played in that. But us women have to understand what y'all went through and the part that we played in that as well, so that we could come together and be the force to be reckoned with. Because this is how they got us right now. We arguing over who's supposed to pay the most bills. When if you in your personal situation, one thing may work for you that may not work for another black couple. So it's always going to be a specific situation. There's always going to be a lot of nuances. But we have to have that open compassion for one another to be able to be like, okay, you know what? That wasn't cool. I understand where you're coming from. And just because I'm hurt doesn't mean that I can't hear your grievances or your perspective. And then we got to come to some common ground, and we got to step this shit back up. Because I'm not finna be here and feel like I'm subservient to what the fuck I saw. I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to let another black man feel like he could be subservient to that, and he could then treat me or other women any kind of way because of how he feels about that. No. Just like Avatar, grab your balls, it's time to fight, and I'm going to fight with you.
Facts.
No more running.
Let's get it on.
But I need to know that you at least going to stand up.
That part.
That part.
Whew. So with that, y'all, Avatar Decoded coming on the way.
That part.
It's gonna be cinematic. It's gonna be next level. You know, me and this young lady, we working on a national tour so we can have these open forums, hopefully like town hall meetings, and have discussions, you know, with our people to heal, you know what I'm saying, to put the patchwork together. You know, I'm calling for an atonement tour for young men, young brothers. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we was out there selling drugs and crack in particular. Shout out to Unique Mecca Audio. You know, normally I would not look at Vlad, and I wouldn't even do this promotion, but this brother, his interview was so dynamic. Done with Cavario. Shout out to Cavario. You know, he said so many real things in the spirit of atonement for his activities and the detriment that he played on this community. I see a lot of grown men, 50, 60 years old, rappers, still pushing, you know, the crack era, the crack cocaine era. These niggas been on world tour, probably been around the world 50 times and have not changed their narrative yet. You know, we are really up against our own that has been weaponized by the music industry to come and destroy us for a buck. And just to get the energy of it, if you go and watch the Hip Hop Homicides episode with 50 Cent, the one about FBG Duck, the same sentiment that them brothers expressed. They like, yo, I'm an entertainer. Your entertainment now has become you parodying death, and you shaking the cup, and whoever drops coins in it, you do the dance and the jiggle. That's unacceptable. We can't have that. You feel me? These niggas got to go in order for us to rise. The energy is too thick. You feel me? It has to dissipate in order for us to get to the trolls, the true ops. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas that look like Bean Man and shit like that. Mr. Bean, yeah, Schmeagle and all of that. We gotta get their puppets out the way, so we can really vanquish, you know what I'm saying, the weak, recessive, corny, degenerate motherfuckers just sitting up there pulling strings. How dare they? But they got these niggas dancing they jiggle for pennies, and they will kill you. You feel me? If you try to come between them and their little, a fraction of their pennies that they're getting, parodying death. And they made Black Death an entertainment culture, and they know it. Go and watch that episode. They telling all of the information in business. Yeah, we know what this is, but, you know, we got to do it for the fans. This is what they want. It's what they want. So, yeah, you know, this shit lands at our feet. At the end of the day, let's take responsibility. You know, men and women. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not speaking at you. I'm speaking to you. I am you. We come from you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not above you. And yeah, you know, the young lady, she asks, she's like, yo, we need to, at the end of these episodes, have hotlines, especially suicide hotlines, for the people that's coming into contact with this information, and they're getting they're getting turned out by the information. They're starting to wig. They're becoming angry. They need somebody to talk to. And I've been running hotlines for the longest amount of time. My DMs are hotlines, suicide hotlines as well. You know, but we're going to work on something a little bit more official in a very near future, you know, so we can be there and be of service, because when you turn a person's light on, it does not end there. You know what I'm saying? It's still a continuation. We still have to be more responsible, you know, for the light that we're putting out here in the world, in this darkness. Feel me? Because when the light stimulates the darkness, it wakes something up. And the darkness ain't, you know what I'm saying? It don't end there. You feel me? You ever shine the flashlight in darkness, you see the diffusion that happens? That shit is not settled. It's very abrupt. And I was like, what the fuck is you doing? Just like now, somebody
That literally
just happened, right? As I'm speaking, a whole light just shining here, and because we sitting in the darkness.
Yeah, the sun that went down on
us. And everything just abruptly turned. What the fuck? What the hell? It's the same thing, y'all. All right? So real talk, real time. Thank you to the spirit realm for giving us the energy and the courage to have this conversation.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you to my lady. Thank you to everybody in attendance.
Thank you,
you know, for coming forward and sharing, you know, your insight and your intellect.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
sure.
listening to my TED Talk, y'all.
Yeah. All right?
Love on yourself.
Appreciate yourself.
Appreciate yourself. Gratitude and
Gratitude. All right? Peace.